Hello everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode where I show you guys the coolest custom creations I happen to see people building in LEGO throughout this last week. I do not show them in order of best to worst, just a bunch of amazing creations that happen to be floating around the LEGO community for this last week. Before I jump into the top 10, the custom build that has gone up in the web store this week is actually a series of a few different ones, but they're all based on the Sheathipede shuttle. David Buckles designed 3 different versions that can be used by the Separatist or Trade Federation. Each of them here are slightly different, but the basic fundamental structure that makes up the body is pretty consistent. And then while David was at it, he also designed the Phantom 2, which is a modified version of the Sheathipede class shuttle that fits into the back of the Ghost. This is a vastly different design. He managed to build in some really interesting functions, in fact, for a lot of these models. And if you wanted to watch the video or get the building instructions yourself, you can check out that link in the description below. All the instructions are found at www.brickvault.toys. All right, let's jump into some honorable mentions now. Remco Rohan is building something for Shiptober. He's just calling it Shiptober, which is funny. This is a simple work in progress photo, but I have a feeling I know what type of ship this is that he's working on, and that is absolutely awesome. I love that somebody's building this specific model. Nick Sweetman's Zombie Compound WD-40 is, it's just got a lot of really fun details here. Jonathan Elliott's Black Mercedes-Benz looks incredibly clean. JK Brickworks ATTE that actually walks is amazing in every way because it comes from JK Brickworks. And then we have an excellent little build for the Old West Bank. This was an old Lego set. It's done in a much cleaner, much more sophisticated build style from Thomas Guillaume. Lestranger Absurd's Jack Sparrow bust has a lot of energy to the face. Robson M has built my favorite version of any half track in LEGO. And Noel Mallet has built the LEGO Monkey Kid logo self-standing. Probably some of the best lettering design that I have seen all year. And now we are jumping into the top 10 of the week, starting off with a build from Bart de Dobbelaer. This is called Intruder Alert. This designer has a knack for building very unsettling, dystopian-esque sci-fi builds with some insectoid-like creatures. This hallway or passageway really throws you off because of the curved walls and the bright red contrasting with the blue light in the background, and the dark, ominous, strangely shaped intruders certainly give you the impression that they're probably not here on a peacekeeping mission. And now let's relax and look at the Golden Gate Bridge by Simon Liu. This is an excellent little micro model. I've noticed this as well. The Golden Gate doesn't always look totally red depending on the light. He managed to do it in orange here, and it pops pretty well against the other colors that we have for this little micro scale build. The smaller you go in LEGO bricks, the more strange and interesting connections you happen to find. And then from jerrybuildsbricks, specifically, I got a little bit excited from this cyberpunk-esque style car that we have. I think it is 8 stud wide or maybe 9 studs wide if you include the wheel wells. And we just have an interesting set of shapes that makes up the body of this car. I specifically like the slant that comes down on the sides by the doors and the extra height added to that spoiler in the back with the grille pieces in red. Really gives a different kind of look to this sporty, grungy, and somewhat 80s and futuristic look that we have going for this car. And then from the designer Why.not, another untitled build. This is one of the very few designers, in my opinion, that I think really successfully pulls off more serious or introspective pieces in LEGO bricks. The somewhat simple looking painted wall is done with some interesting techniques that are a little bit more complex than the image that we're seeing cast upon it. And you might be able to guess the painter's motivation when you look out the window. Excellent use of force perspective. From the designer Barthezz brick, we have Venice 1486 fishing Sailship. My guess is that from this particular angle, the model looks the best because the sail is built in such an interesting way where you have all of those little traffic sign pieces clipped together in a way from this angle to look like it's a solid sail piece. But man, it really does have an excellent look when it all comes together. The water and slightly cresting waves really feel alive. You can see that the tiles are very slowly tilting up and down. The trans clear cheese wedge pieces all pointing in the same direction direction give you the impression that there's a high crosswind cutting across the tops of the waves. And who has seen a flag built out of just those 1x1 modified clip pieces? It's really interesting. The hull also has a fun and subtle sloping design along the sides, and just about no connection here seems to be conventional or easy to do. If you're paying attention to the order, this is number 5, moving down from the builder, Finn Roberts. This is titled Shift Change at Pier 3. There's quite a lot of backstory and description if you were to check this link out directly from this designer's Flickr. But needless to say, I mean, really all you have to do is take a long look at this image. There is a huge amount of universe building dedicated to just this one picture. If you go back through this designer's Flickr pages, there's a few other little build designs that he shows off that gives you a better idea of how he managed to just make this one scene. But all of this was dedicated to just make this one single scene. It very much looks like something you might see from Blade Runner. The cyberpunk style is extremely strong. All the characters have such interesting combinations of pieces, but it feels dirty, it feels grungy, it feels futuristic. I like the little glow that comes out of that one guy's helmet visor. The neon detailing coming from inside the shops makes everything feel like there's something going on in every little corner of this scene. This isn't just a piece that's impressive because of its size or because of its colors. There truly is a lot of sophistication when it comes to tiny pieces coming together. In terms of atmosphere building, this is probably one of the best pieces I have seen all year, and it's pieces like these that really make me happy to do this video every single week. Number 4 on the list now is from the designer Aaron Newman. This is titled Lost Boys Hideout. The background scene and lighting that he has for this particular render looks amazing, and it really does look like he's managed to capture the full universe of Peter Pan in just one build. You can see the hideout tree on the top layer, fun little design that makes up the glowing Tinkerbell, which is nice, and then what looks like 2 full levels of the different hideout underneath the tree for all the Lost Boys. The whole area feels cozily cluttered with lots of fun little details hidden away in each corner. I like the roots that are sticking through the ceiling on both levels of what it looks like down here. Everything is candle lit. Those balloon pieces, I think, make up hammocks for the Lost Boys to sleep in, which is a fun detail. And I am very surprised to see that Aaron didn't put this up for LEGO Ideas. I feel like this would get voted through real quick. He's got a YouTube video on the building of this. It's also a blog post. Remember, links to everything are in the description below. And now we're moving on to number 3. This is just such an interesting and strange ship, but built so well, from CRCT Productions. This is the LEGO X-70B Phantom class prototype, and specifically it looks like this is supposed to be from the Star Wars Old Republic era. It's hard to describe this ship completely. It is big and it's kind of bulky and wide, yet extremely smooth and angular and precise. The designer also built this ship with some internal lighting, so you can see the subtle blue glow in the front for what I'm going to assume is the windscreen, and then the thrusters seem to have a very deep purple glow in the back. The angular connections along the top have a very subtle slant downward on either side, and then it gets a little bit sharper when you move on towards the wings. I guess you could call those wings. And it just comes off to me as a ship that has got a lot of interesting, precise details that don't initially pop out to you on first glance, but really start to stick out the longer and longer you look at the model. And then number 2 moving down is from Norton74. This is titled A-Frame Cabin, and I just cannot get enough of these amazing nature and usually classic Americana style builds. I think a signature move from this particular designer is intentionally leaving plates and tiles not totally studded in. That's especially prevalent when you're looking at the roof of this A-frame. And also, I probably wouldn't even want to walk up the stairs towards this cabin. That does not look safe. Look at the stone detailing right underneath that. Those are all of Thor's hammers just clipped in back to back to back to back. You can see that this settler or explorer or miner, whoever this guy is that lives way out in the wilderness, seems to be doing some woodworking. They play guitar guitar, keep some chickens, cut firewood. You can start to build a much larger picture around this particular person who happens to be living out here. And I certainly hope that bear in the background is friendly. Now, the last model from Top 10 Mocks this week is also a similar style build. It is a building and its nature cut together. And the official title is Fishing in Muddy Waters from the designer Ralf Langer. It's really tough to start figuring out where to even begin when looking at this model, because just about every bit of architecture here is a technique that I haven't quite seen done in this particular way. Let me start at the bottom and work my way up. I mean, I have seen muddy water look like this before, but it just has such an interesting and vibrant color scheme. The light bluish gray arches have an interesting way of connecting into the dark bluish gray stone. The quarter round tile pieces, all somewhat offset, give off a unique and intentional scattered feel to the whole model. The walkway that comes up with the tread pieces all fit with the brown bars is something I've also never seen before. Jumping onto the trees, who has seen that particular kind of leaf piece used in such abundance to create the foliage? The cylindrical tower has a super interesting technique. You can see that the arch pieces are facing in towards each other, and then bullion pieces are slipped on the inside, in between that open arch for the brick. The same thing is happening for those opened crisscross panel pieces in dark bluish gray with the pins coming through, and then when you go to the other side of the house, blue bars are sticking through those pins, and it gives you the idea that it's perhaps stained glass window or something similar to that. Do I have to point out once again the uniqueness of the thatched roof style detailing with those road sign pieces? There just is so much interesting stuff hidden in this model that when you take a look back and you start painting outwards, it really doesn't feel like Lego, but it absolutely is, and it looks amazing. Anyways, guys, that is going to be it for the top 10 mocks of the week episode. If you have any extra time, I highly recommend you check out some of those Flickr links in the description below if you want to learn more about any of the builders that were shown off today. If you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe, or check out our web store, www.brickvault.toys, if you wanted to build any amazing Lego custom creations. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end of the video, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.